Miss Allyson Lynch, our building administrator.
How you doing?
How are y'all? Good. I am very, very grateful to be here with y'all this morning. I will apologize up front because I expect the same. I would like you all not to be on your phone because I don't want to be on my phone or radio, but we're a little thin today, so I do have the radio turned up. Unfortunately, if I have to leave, I have to leave, but Miss Deems and Miss Wheeler already know that, okay? But hopefully I won't. So, did y'all have a nice little fall break? Did y'all enjoy that? Yeah, we've never gotten that before, so that's pretty nice. Hopefully y'all got to do something fun. And hopefully we're gonna learn a little bit today, okay? This is for you all. So I have a lot of stops along the way built in to ask questions because that's what this is for, all right? Hopefully you get to know a little bit about me and my journey in education, because y'all have not had an educator, right? Not yet. Okay, you've had a lot of different career paths come in and talk to you. Has this been beneficial? Yeah. How many have learned something that may or may not be what you choose to try to pursue after high school? Yeah. So this is a huge opportunity for you, not only delve into different aspects of what's awaiting you in a few short months, but you get to hear firsthand accounts, okay? I'll get more into that in a minute, but hopefully you all have enjoyed this process, and thank your teachers for setting it up, okay? So like your teacher said, and side note, one of your teachers was one of my students in the very beginning. What is this? No, we don't want to update. Go away.
It's going to stay there.
Oh, geez. Technology. Okay. So we've already talked a little bit about this, but anybody thinking about a career in education? Teaching? Yeah? A few of you? A couple? Okay. So that's one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about. I knew I wanted to be an educator when I was a young child, okay? 5 years old, really. And I just kind of stuck with it. Lots of people don't, and that's okay. So if you're sitting here right now going, I don't have a clue, that's all right. But hopefully you have, at least at this point in your life, developed some interests, right? There's some things you like to do, some things you like to learn about. That might be what you need to sort of guide yourself towards. Like, do you like to help people? Do you like to work with people? Do you like to work with your hands? Do you like to read a lot, write a lot? What are the things that you like to do on a daily basis? And try to sort of, set your sights in that realm, okay? What is something that you could do the rest of your life, or a good chunk of the rest of your life, that taps into that joy, okay? So I'm glad to hear that people are wanting to go in education. That's part of what I'm going to talk about too. Education gets a bad rap right now, right? We've heard a lot of different things in the last few years about education, that it's not a good career, it's low pay, long hours. That might be true in some situations, not every day, not all the time, but I will tell you education is one of the most fulfilling careers that you can ever embark upon, okay? I would not know or have come into contact with a fraction of the people that I have over the last several years if it weren't for work in education. I get to see you all every day, okay? I get to help some way, somehow on your journey to the next steps of life. And that's a pretty fulfilling piece of who I am, okay? That's essentially pay, okay? Or part of what it should be fulfillment in the future. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, folks, it's not all about the money, okay? It is nice in any job, but it's not gonna all be about the money, okay? So part of what has gotten me where I am is gonna get you where you are no matter what you choose to do, whether it's education or otherwise. You're gonna have to put in hard work at some point, folks, okay? And I know that's kind of like, really? I don't wanna have to do that. Yeah, I'm a senior in high school. I'm getting ready to head off. Everything's yay, yay, yay.
All personnel radios. Just gotta look out for Jalen Wright. He is not reported to first block yet.
But guess what? You're low man on the totem pole again next year, okay? You are out in that world, whether you're embarking upon school, you're gonna be a freshman in college, or you're straight into the workforce, military, whatever. You're the low man, not the high man, okay? Meaning, should you expect to have the four-corner office or you get an hour for lunch or these other little benefits and perks along the way immediately? No, that comes down the road, okay? So you've got to put in long hours and hard work sometimes to make that happen, all right? Dreams just don't poof, come into thin air, okay? You have a dream, but you have to fulfill it and see it through, okay? And along with that, it's not just professionally. You got to have personal goals too, okay? You can't have lopsided situations, meaning you can't just be all in work and all in personal. You got to find a way to balance all of that, okay? So a little bit about me. That might make a little bit more sense on how I came to be an educator. I grew up in this community. I grew up in Franklin County. I went to school just like you are right now. I sat where you are 20 years ago, graduated from this high school. And I knew I wanted to return to Franklin County to be an educator. I mean, once I left high school, I knew that might not be a reality because I was get a job where you can get a job, okay? And that might not happen in Franklin County, but that was where I set my sights. I wanted to be back here to serve this community, okay, that had served me. I went to Roanoke College, which is in nearby Salem. And while I was there, you know, it's always been told growing up you can major in education. Well, it wasn't really true, okay? You had to sort of pick a content area to major in, which is something I had to do right off the bat. So the plan changed immediately, you know, going from I'm going to major in elementary education, I'm going to be a kindergarten teacher, to nope, which of the 4 content areas am I going to major in? Math, science, social studies, or English, okay? Math and I did not mix very well. I did enough to do well. I was an over 4.0 student here, but it just was not my thing. I did not want to be an English teacher, just didn't. So I left history and science. Well, I'd always loved history, but science I'd love too. The thing with science was it had labs on top of the classes that you had to take, so it was like double duty. So process elimination, I became a history major, okay? And it's one of the best things that I've done. History, a lot of people think you're pigeonholed into becoming a teacher. It's not true. A history degree will open up all kinds of gateways, okay? You can be, work in some sort of government job. You can work in some sort of museum kind of curating work. You can be a researcher. You can be a teacher. There's lots of different things. So don't think just because you major in a content area that it's gonna just, keep you closed off. It's not, okay? I did minor in secondary education, which is grades 6 through 12, and then I minored in Spanish as well, okay? Anything like that you can do to help along the way if your plan is to go to college or to go into a field of work that you're gonna need some sort of certification for, do everything you can, okay? My biggest regret class-wise right now here at Franklin County High School as a student and in college is not taking a Microsoft Office skills class, okay? I use Excel or attempt to use Excel all the time, and I cannot operate that thing to save my soul, okay? So that any kind of little certifications, you do a little bit more in a foreign language or a little bit more in something that somebody else may not have, will go a long way, okay? So think about that. After I graduated Roanoke College, I did student teaching in Roanoke County, did all of that. I was hired here in Franklin County, so dream come true. Mr. Crutchfield actually hired me to teach here in the social studies department, and I was in the classroom for 10 years here. I taught 9th grade, I taught 11th grade and 12th grade. So World History 1, U.S. History, and then government. The main thing I primarily taught over those 10 years was U.S. History, and I loved every minute of it. I had Miss Wheeler, my very first day, very first class, okay? And over the years, I've encountered all sorts of folks that are my babies. Like she will always be one of my babies, okay, that I taught and have seen, and of course this is that rewarding part. Now look where she's at, okay? I get to see her every day. She's on staff here with us. Huge accomplishments in her life as well, okay? I wouldn't have had that otherwise if I hadn't been a teacher. So I embarked upon teaching here. That was quite the endeavor. if you have younger teachers like Ms. Wheeler, they will tell you if you are in a high school setting or a close in age proximity setting, it's tough. It becomes tougher, okay? And it was, because that group was only 7 years younger than I was, okay? That was hard. It was hard making the transition into I'm the adult and they're not, okay? And what did that look like? But so U.S. history was my biggest thing. Taught several years worth of students. Also along the way, I became senior class sponsor. Various other things here that I did as well. But then as I got, on up in years of teaching, I was like, well, I want my master's. I knew I'd always wanted my master's, but what do I want it in? Okay. What do I want to do in education, or what I would like to have that certification to do? And that led into administration. So I got my master's degree in administration for Virginia Tech. And it is very hard, folks, going back to school and working simultaneously. It can be done, but it is very hard. So if you already know you have a career choice that maybe doesn't require a master's, but you think you want a master's or further along, it might be worth, do I go ahead and do it while I'm on that train of I'm in school, I'm going to get it done, because it does make a difference if you're trying to work and go to school simultaneously, okay? Got that master's from Virginia Tech, and then you wait, because once you make the decision to try to become an administrator, it doesn't happen immediately. It happened pretty quickly for me, though, but it didn't happen how I wanted it to. I had to leave a group of students midway through the semester. It was this time of the year. There was an opening at the middle school for a dean of students, and I was chosen to take that job. But I had to leave three groups with the kids, and that's not how I wanted to transition to administration. Made it work, but that's how I got into administration. Spent 6 months-ish over at the middle school as the dean of students. Okay, that's where I met many of you all for the first time. You all were my sixth graders over there, and then I was able to come back over here the following year, and have been here ever since as an administrator at the high school. I love what I do. Every day is different. Every day is a new opportunity. I primarily work with the English department, the yearbook, the newspaper, the junior class, which does prom, SCA, a lot of different things that I am responsible for. And then, of course, I do whatever Mr. Crutchfield tells me to do as well. Okay, he's the campus principal. So fast forward a few more years, I'm currently working on my doctorate. Again, it's very hard to go to school and work simultaneously, so keep that in mind. Just as someone that's been there, done that, other teachers have been there, done that as well. So listen to their experiences, okay? It might help you along the way. But I am working on my doctorate right now. Not real sure where that's going to take me or what I want to do with it, but I do know I do not want to leave Franklin County High School. That was my dream once I became a secondary education person. I wanted to be here. I wanted to be here throughout the entirety of my career, whatever that looked like, and I hope I'm able to do that. Okay. So we'll see, but it's something that I'm happy I'm embarked upon, but it is tough right now, taking classes and working all the time. So this is me, this then and now. This was my senior awards in the middle, out here in the auditorium. So you see, and I'll just tell you right now, we didn't have white gowns back then, okay? That kind of burns me up a little bit, because my brother is 2 years younger than I am. And my year was the last year we didn't do the white gown situation.
Oh my God.
But they did in his year. So my parents have our side-by-side pictures at home, and people go, oh, he had the white gown. I said, no. So one of the things that opens the door in education, well, let me back up. One of the things that opens the door no matter what in life, it's not all about what you know, it's about who you know. Okay, in the contacts that you make across the spectrum. And that could be everything from your part-time job that you had in the summertime this past summer, if you had one, to eventually becoming that worker in that employment field that you want to be, okay? I have made contacts at the marina that I worked at many years on Swift Mountain Lake that have helped me where I am right now, okay? So who you know, it is important. So make those contacts in anything that you do, all right? But one of the biggest things that will help you in education are the internships that you complete, all right? So if you have the opportunity to go and work in an educational setting, we've got Teens and Tots here on campus. If you're interested in education, I hope you're working in Teens and Tots. We've got volunteer public service where you can go into an elementary school, you can go into the middle school, you can go to classes here. That used to not be the case. We used to not let people go into the high school. You'd had to go into the middle school or the elementary school through VPS. But you have the opportunity to work in those settings. There's daycares here locally. The YMCA is always needing folks. But anything that would involve working with students, with young people, is a great opportunity to see if this is really what you want to do, okay? I started off wanting to be an elementary school teacher, and that changed along the way. But it's really no different, okay? Everybody throughout my career, you know, people I interact with the church or out in the community. Oh, I can't believe you do high school kids. Oh, I can't believe you do that. I love high school kids, but I would tell them, I said, well, they're no different than the small ones. They can go to the bathroom and do all that by themselves. They don't puke on your shoes, or usually don't, okay? So it's just a different, all right? Younger ones are the same thing. You all love stickers just as much as they do, all right? Right? Don't act like you don't. I remember in the classroom, okay? So it's just different. You're just grown up, okay? You're getting ready to do different things than what they're doing right now. So anytime you have the opportunity, if this is something that you're interested in, you know, take it, all right? The other thing it helps with too, folks, is the interaction solely with the public. If you want to be an educator, you're gonna work with the public, okay? You're gonna work with people of all walks of life, and they're going to be people you don't necessarily agree with or like or approve of, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But you're going to have to figure out a way to work together, to respect one another, and to get your job done, okay? So that's not for the faint of heart, honestly, especially this day of age. You have a lot of things that you have to tackle. There's a lot of societal issues that teachers and educators are now being asked to work with. That wasn't the case 20 years ago, 30 years ago and beyond. So it is different now. But if you're someone that wants to help people and wants to work with people, this is definitely a job for you, okay? If you're someone that's passionate about a content area, especially at this level, you know, we've got all of our CTE folks. Some of them didn't start as educators. They started in their field of work. They're passionate about that work, that content, and they've then translated into trying to pass on that passion, okay? So maybe that's you too. Maybe you are gonna go into some kind of trade or industry situation, but then a few years down the road, well, I wanna pass it off to someone. I wanna pass that knowledge along, okay? So same thing, you don't have to start out loving the idea of being a teacher and instructor. You have to start off the idea of loving a passion and wanting to pass it on to someone, okay? So there are lots of different things that you can do. But if you are wanting to do this, the classes we have here, Teens and Tots, EC1, EC2, the intro classes, we now have teachers for tomorrow. We didn't have that when I was here, okay? Again, take electives here, not just if they're education, but otherwise. If you take them here, A, they're free, okay? You have to pay for them. But B, this is going to show you, do I really want to do this or not, okay? And it's okay. Let's say we're senior year right now and you're thinking, oh, I do want to be an educator and I've signed up for a VPS next semester and I know I'm going to an elementary school. Well, let's say you get to that elementary school next semester and it is not what you think it's going to be, okay? Is that a good thing? Yeah, it's okay that it's not what you thought it would be. You know why it's a good thing? Because you can make the decision now before you put a whole lot of money or a whole lot of time and effort into something that you may not be happy with, okay? It's okay if you find out it's not for you. That's what electives are for. But what if you realize it is a good thing, okay? You've just solidified your decision to want to do this. Or maybe you've refined your decision. Maybe you're like, yeah, I do want to work with the little kids. Maybe I don't want to work with the little kids, okay? There's a lot of educators that will tell you that. We have a lot of teachers here that will say, I ain't doing the little ones, okay? And then a lot of the elementary school teachers say, I ain't doing the big ones, okay? That's all right. That's okay. But make sure you're taking advantages of the opportunities presented in front of you, okay? This is part of that long hours and hard work, all right? People notice, okay? I would not be where I am today if people didn't notice the hard work and effort that I put in along the way, okay? They notice that you're still here after a certain time. They notice that you're willing to do more or above and beyond. That is all about knowing people as well. If those people see that, then they're going to be more likely to recommend you or to support you or to help you along in the rest of your endeavors, okay? So you got to do what you got to do. I put this on here because that is literally me on a boat studying for the praxis test, okay? Praxis is a test that you have to take to become an educator. There is actually a Praxis 1 and a Praxis 2, or there used to be. Now things are a little different, but the Praxis 2 is your content class, meaning I had to pass an overall test in history and social sciences to become certified to teach in the state of Virginia. And that means that I'm qualified to teach everything from world history, government, history, psychology, sociology, economics, geography, the whole gamut. That's what the social sciences means, okay? So I could teach your econ and personal finance class if I had to, all right? I never did, but I could. All of that. So you have a test that has anything about all of those fields on it. Of course, does anybody want to forego study time for lake time? Absolutely not. So you try to kill two birds with one stone. And my friends were laughing at me when we took this picture because I'm literally taking a practice test as they were driving the boat. Okay. Again, sometimes you got to do what you got to do in life, and not just with professionally, okay? You got to make time for some things, and I know sometimes I've had conversations with you all personally. If you know you've got a lot to catch up on, isn't it more worthwhile to knock it out this week and be done, and you've got your weekend, or it's going to make a big difference if you get this stuff done now than it is wasting time and messing around, and this time next year you wish you had, okay? So same thing. There's still Smith Mountain Lake, a beach. Will it still be there? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I did kill two birds with one stone here, but this is to say, was that opportunity for me to pass that test always there and get a job? No. Okay. You hold the cards and that kind of timeline at that point. You have to make hard decisions sometimes. All right. What do you want? If you just wanted to be at the lake, all right, fine, go ahead. But if you really want a job, you really want to start your career, you want to get moving the rest of life, you got to do the hard things sometimes, okay? Went over a lot of that because I'm going to let y'all ask questions, okay? So here's the other thing to remember too. When I said about that balance, you got to have a balance. You all are about to hit life, and life is going to get messy. It's going to get complicated. It's not going to be what you thought it was going to be. In some cases, it's going to be much more. In some cases, it's going to be much less, okay? It's going to be a roller coaster, quite literally, all right? If someone had told me 20 years ago that I would eventually be an administrator here, I'd say, no, I don't think so. Somebody told me I'd be a teacher here, yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's what I want to do. But an administrator? My class just had their class reunion a couple weeks ago. And I was a little taken aback at the people that were like, I cannot believe you're, like, somebody's a principal already at our age. I'm like, well, I'm just working hard. Like, that's what I'm doing. But some people aren't where they want to be just yet. And that's okay too. But you got to remember, if things happen, if you have little people come into your life, if you have other people come into your life, you're going to have to find a balance, okay? These are my kids, Emily and Holden. That's a couple years ago. Sorry, you can't really see Emily. Emily's in first grade, Holden's in pre-K, okay? The more years that pass by, the more that they're growing up and the more things that they're becoming involved with, okay? And the more that I'm spread pretty thin. Like tomorrow night, Holden has a soccer game, okay? So you have to balance priorities in life, All right, you got to make time for what's important. All right, I just said this too. Expect the unexpected, folks. Okay, you can set out of here in May saying, I'm going to be a 7th grade science teacher at Benjamin Franklin Middle School. And in 5 years, I hope we can hire you as a 7th grade science teacher at the middle school. But you may end up being the 4th grade teacher at Boones Mill Elementary, okay? Or you may end up being something totally different as well. So remember along the way that when you walk out of these doors, that does not end your interaction with us. We're here to help you even after you're gone, okay? You may need a transcript, and that will always be there, but if you need advice, you need recommendations, you need support, you want to ask questions, like you take some classes or do some things next year and you're like, I don't know, I might really want to do this. Come back and talk to us, okay? We'll be happy to sort of help guide you on a path. We've been there, all right? We've gone through this. Every single one of us has a similar yet different journey in education. There are standard things that you have to do to become a teacher in the state of Virginia, but then not everyone took the same path, okay? Not everyone has been in Virginia the entire time, all right? Okay, so I want y'all to ask questions, and you can ask just about anything about daily things here, about what I've experienced, but think about this too. What are some of the things that you want cleared up about being a teacher, about being an educator? What are some hesitations, okay? Surely to goodness you've wondered about teachers along the way, about things along the way. Yes, ma'am?
Why did you decide to go from teacher to administrator?
That's a good question. So I truly would be still satisfied in the classroom, but my style of helping people, I wanted to be able to also help teachers more than I was already able to, not just students. And the only way I could do that functionally was to become an administrator. We have had concerns about our salary scale for many years, and I was on a committee about 10 years ago that dealt with the salary, the pay here in the county for teachers. And I knew then that if I was going to be able to make an even further difference, that I would have to become an administrator to do that. So in my job, I get to serve everyone, not just that chunk of students that I work with every day. Yes, sir.
What made you want to teach high school kids rather than little kids?
That's a good question too. To teach high school students versus little kids. Oh. So yeah, when I left here, and it's so funny, you go back, I've been looking at all this because I've pulled all the reunion box stuff out. I wanted to be an elementary teacher and major in psychology at Roanoke College. So when I got to Roanoke College and realized you had to major in a content area, but I was also in my education classes, if I was around the room, there was about 40 of us at a table. All but probably about 8 said they wanted to be an elementary educator. And most of us at the time, and it's probably still the case, there are a lot of local people that go to Roanoke College. I'm thinking, we can't all be elementary teachers. There might have been 1 or 2 other people from Franklin County or this area that were at Roanoke College as well, or that I knew were going to be teachers that had gone to Radford or Ferrum or other places locally too. I'm thinking, we can't all do this. So it got me thinking about teaching high school. I loved my experience here, loved the teachers that I'd had here, and of course realizing I'm going to have to be a history major. Could I be a history teacher? Then I started comparing the 2 certifications and looking to see what you had to do to be an elementary K through 6 certified versus a secondary 6 through 12 certified. And there were a whole lot more classes for the elementary education certification. And that kind of ultimately made my decision because I was simultaneously doing Spanish as a certification and the other minor classes that I was doing. So it made more sense for me to be a secondary educator. And I thought I could find a job quicker as well.
I'm in my office.
Other questions? Yes, ma'am.
If you weren't a teacher, what other job would you?
Oh, a lawyer.
Ma'am, I think it was just a mix-up.
I definitely enjoy that line of work. I like to, again, help people. I don't know if I'd be like a personal a defense attorney, maybe, but I'd probably have ended up wanting to do like prosecution work, a Commonwealth Attorney's office or something like that. So, you want to tell everybody what is being said?
I told Noah that you was going to prosecute him.
Well, there are some days I feel a little bit like a prosecutor sometimes when we have certain issues with students, unfortunately. You kind of have to do a little bit of that in what I do now.
What made you choose Franklin County? Like, why did you stay here?
Why'd I stay home? It's home. I grew up here. I loved being here. I wanted to make a difference here like other people had made for me. A lot of the teachers that I had, some of them are still here. A lot of them are retired now, but there's still some that I interacted with. Like I had Miss Worley at the middle school at Cassie. I had her as an 8th grade social studies teacher and here at the high school as well. So there are people along the way that are still educators today that made an impact upon me. Okay, and I want to be one of them. Yes, sir.
What was the hardest thing about the career?
Oh gosh, about getting into it. It is like a lot of things, kind of a crapshoot, meaning you just don't know. You're going to try your hardest. You're a fully certified teacher, and then you have to put out your applications everywhere, especially if you want a job. So I had applications out, Roanoke County, Roanoke City, Salem, Pulaski, Henry County, Bedford County, all over the place. What was hardest for me is knowing I wanted to be here and trying not to hang my hat on, well, what if I don't get here? What if there is no opening? What if I have to go to one of those other places first because I need a job? So that was pretty tough in those months between February and May, senior year of college, because you start the application process January, February. So there was interview after interview and application after application, and it was tough going, but I really want to be in Franklin County, and I really want to be in Franklin County, and then kind of realizing it might not happen, or it might not happen the way you want it to. So.
What about now? Like, what's the hardest thing about it now?
My job now? My job, let me kind of back up. In the last few years, the hardest thing is seeing the impacts of societal issues on you all. The writing was already on the wall before COVID took place, but when COVID hit, it just exacerbated it even more. It like fast forwarded it into high gear. I mean, we could already see some concerns, mental health. We could already see concerns addiction-wise to these phones. But then when COVID hit and people were basically, shut in, for lack of a better way to say it, for a period of time, it just then magnified how that was already becoming a struggle, and it's becoming an even bigger struggle because we now have a generation of folks that a lot of you aren't comfortable being around people. You don't know how to interact with people, and that's not really a fault of your own, but it's not good, and now we're getting ready to send you off into the world, in a world that expects you to be able to, okay? So that is, in the last few years, the hardest thing is dealing with the outside factors that are part of your everyday struggles as well, that weren't there a few years ago. A few years ago, I would say, the writing has been on the wall, too, of the general disrespect. You all have been reared in a different, few years. Not that it's a bad thing, but everybody's always gotten a participation trophy for playing a sport or doing this activity or whatnot. There's been no, here's this goal, here's what you have to do to work to get it. And if you don't, it's okay. You're gonna have to try harder next time, okay? Because somewhere along the way, a lot of you haven't been told you're gonna fail. Okay, in anything. And unfortunately, and I hate to pop your bubble if you haven't, you're gonna fail at something, folks, okay? We all do every day. And if you've not experienced that, or you're not equipping yourself for that resiliency, it's gonna hit hard once you do fail, okay? So that was already happening, and then COVID, sort of the umbrella of it all, and then trying it's almost like you're back in pre-K again, or preschool, and we're having to say, come on, y'all. come on, y'all can come in the schoolhouse. We can do this. You know, you can step away from mom and dad. You can step away from so-and-so. We're going to sit here and we're going to learn some things. That's almost how it's felt, quite honestly. We're having to reteach, show you again how to interact with the world. So, somebody else? Yes, sir.
Have you ever thought about like going like higher education, like at college or something?
Yes and no. So of course, you get to this stage of a career. This is year 16 for me. I still have many years left to work, but you start thinking about what does retirement look like. I don't want to not work in retirement. I want to have something to do. And so part of what I would like to do in retirement is to teach like adjunct faculty at a college, meaning I could teach some education classes. I could potentially teach some history classes. Yeah, just on the side. Like I could do, let's say I did one virtual class, a semester, or if I did one in-person class a semester, something that I could still do simultaneously, even in my those final years here, those final years in a career before I fully retire. Then I can do that all the time in retirement. Does that make sense?
A lot of administrators, like for example, Jamie was in higher ed, they were or are administrators, and so they actually teach the grad classes there.
Yeah, we're tapped. I have not been because I'm not to that point yet. We're tapped to teach a lot of these administrator prep classes or teacher preparatory classes, people that are going back to do stuff locally for sure. So, yes ma'am.
How does being an administrator affect having kids at home?
How does being an administrator affect having kids at home? A lot, especially with small children. It is obviously doable. I've been doing it the entire time. Emily was born when I was still in the classroom. I was a teacher. But Holden was born when first year I was an administrator here. And so they've known no different, honestly, of mommy being an administrator. But it is hard sometimes to balance. You've got to have a support system outside of work. My parents are good help. I have some cousins that are good help. Because sometimes, this Friday night's not a good example. I don't have them this Friday night, but so a couple weeks ago, it was my week with them. I had them Friday night. They're not old enough to be at the football game here. So mom and dad had to help because we have football supervision. All of us have to do it, okay? So you have to have a good network to help along the way with some things. But as they get older, it's getting easier. They'll come sometimes with me to things, or it'll be more flexible to have them or to be able to do something. They don't need as much constant care as they did a couple of years ago as an infant or toddler. So the balance is becoming easier as they get older. But it is tough. It's very tough. And it's tough being a parent, but still being the educator, because I know what I would do as a teacher and an educator, but then now I'm also on this side too. Like, all right, Allyson, take a step back. Okay, remember, what would you be doing and saying to this teacher or do as this teacher, even though you're the parent too? So that's tough.
So you can kind of see it like from both directions, as a parent direction and as an educator direction.
I can. I try real hard to still see it solely as the teacher and the educator, though, because that's what I am. That's what I've done. I've spent 16 years doing it so far. So I try not to be. I try not to go full throttle as the parent. I try to take a step back. I try to see what's going on, and no matter what you do, this is Miss Lynch advice, Allyson advice. Little children lie, folks, okay? Not that other people don't, but little children lie. So if you find yourself as a parent one day, you need to remember that there's an adult in the equation too at school, and the adult has a perspective that's probably a little more clear, okay? For example, my daughter this is probably when you all were in school, but it wasn't when I was. This whole clip up, you start on green and you go down or you go up, the colors. Yeah. So they start on green and you can get to pink. And so she's in first grade. Well, so far she hadn't gotten on pink any day. And I'm like, what in the world is going on? And she'll get purple here and there, but it's mainly the greens and blues. I'm like, well, Emily, what are you doing? Nothing. Well, Emily's talking a little bit too much, okay? So not only is she talking a little bit too much, because I said, well, you need to stop that. Like, let's work on that. So she got purple several days in a row. Well, then it kind of went back again. Well, I ran into the teacher, just so happened to, And she said, well, it's this, you know, one said little boy's name. I said, wait a minute, who? And she said, well, so-and-so. I said, well, wait a minute. That's the little boy that she likes to play with at Holden's soccer practices. I thought he was older. Oh no, he's in our class. Oh, ding, 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 okay? So I said, really, do tell. And so there's faces being made across the room, little googly eyes. Well, Emily's getting her work done, he's not, okay? So that afternoon, we're talking a whole lot again. I said, this wouldn't have to be with Isaac, is it? I said, you want to tell me what's going on? And so that part is hard too. So I mean, obviously, some of y'all see me in action. I'm a disciplinarian by nature. That doesn't mean I'm mean. That means I'm firm. I make you do what you're supposed to do, okay? So I try not to be too tough on my kids, but at the same time, I see what it might look like because I deal with it every day if I don't stop it now. So I said, girl, what are you doing? What are you doing? Nothing. I said, well, it needs to be nothing because I thought Isaac was somebody else, was in a different grade. Turns out he's in the room with you. Might be a problem. So just grain of salt with the small children. They're going to tell you whatever they want you to hear. Okay? Yeah.
So a segue to that, or using that as a segue, there's a common theme about being strict. Can you compare that to having high expectations and how you can be different?
Yes, absolutely. So and Ms. Wheeler can jump in anytime. I'm definitely a high expectations person, high standards, and very firm in the process along with that. So a lot of students over the years translated that into, that woman is mean, that woman is evil. Really? Am I? Or am I just making you do what you need to do and putting it in perspective for you, okay? Because again, because I've lived experiences, I see what life is gonna hold. I'm not trying to sugarcoat it for you, okay? I know it's hard right now because some of you are like, whatever. Really, folks, you've got less than a year and you are gonna be expected to have it together as a functional adult in this society, okay? We, the adults, are going to expect you to pay your taxes, to vote, to take care of your business, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, okay? That's pretty daunting because right now you don't necessarily have to do that. Some of you may, or you're starting to, but overall you don't, okay? You come here to this nice little comfort community, our little walls every day, and that's it, okay? Next year and beyond, the world is your oyster, okay? This is life. Like, it's gonna be hard. So I'm not trying to say what it's not gonna be. I'm gonna tell you what it's gonna be. So again, high standards, high expectations. We have to have them. If we don't, we're not doing our job here. I'm not doing my job if I don't attempt to send you off the fully prepared as I can be. Whether that is making sure you know and have passed algebra down to the, yeah, folks, pick up your trash, okay? Or hold the door open for somebody, all right? All of that is what we have been tasked with as educators, okay? We just don't come in and teach U.S. history or English or whatever it is, okay? Sometimes we have to have moments like this. We're gonna talk about stuff, okay? And over the years, I would have raw conversations with my students in my class. I still have raw conversations now with students. I just don't get to have as many of them, okay? We have to prepare you. And a lot of times, some of your peers, some of your predecessors think, being mean, or I don't want us to do this. No, we're just trying to prepare you, okay? We've been there, done that, all right? I love when people say, well, it's just not enough time in between classes. Yeah, that's how many minutes it's been for like 35 years, and somehow hundreds of thousands of people have made it work so far. So get out of here, get out of my office. You know, it's just, remember that the reasons that we have some of the things in place are because we have to, okay? Or because we've been there, we've done that, all right?
Well,
Just
nobody in the real world is going to tell them what we tell them.
No.
Nobody's going to stop you and be like, you need to do this or you need to fix this. It's just going to happen.
Nobody's going to work with you on your personal issues if you don't at least open up to them to say, hey, I'm having personal issues right now, okay? So they will work with you all the live long day if you open that line of communication with them. You don't have to come to me and tell me what your personal issue is, but you can't use it as an excuse as to why you're late 5 days in a row and then finally say, well, this is going on, Ms. Lynch. Okay, why didn't you tell me that on Monday? All right, why didn't you say, hey, I got some things going on? All right, let's see how we can work through that. I may be able to help you if you choose to open up about it. You don't have to, but at the very least, I know why you're continually doing this behavior or continually doing this thing or having this issue, okay? You're gonna have to do that with an employer. You're gonna have to do that with other people you interact with in life, okay? Just be upfront. Again, you don't have to go into detail, just be upfront about it, okay? Yes, ma'am.
Like, why can't seniors leave 11, 13 if they have early release on activity period?
Because activity period is still instructional time.
Which is not everywhere.
Because you're still a student at Franklin County High School, and activity period time encompasses co-curricular clubs or extracurricular clubs. We want you to become involved. So we can't give you a segue out of that. We have to offer you the opportunity. If you choose to decline, you choose to decline, but you still have to be here to make the opportunity available. You will never get this time back, okay? You may not really see anything that you'd like to do, but what's gonna hurt? Let me go to that club meeting. See if I like it, see if I don't. You're not out anything. You're not out money, you're not out time, because you gotta be here anyway. So you may find something you actually want to work with, enjoy, or be a part of. Again, it's not gonna hurt you, okay?
I think overall the cell phone and the dress code has been probably the biggest nemesis for you guys, is it?
Some of it, so is it really the cell phones or dress codes, guys? Because that's what people often are like, it's the cell phone, it's the dress code. Really, it's the overarching problem of the respect about when and where you can do and use things, okay? So like right now, and I appreciate you all, looks like most everybody has done that. It's the respect that we've shown one another. Have I been over there on my phone?
No.
I've expected the same out of you in return, okay? Yeah, I've had to have the little radio turned up. I'm sorry about that, but I would have turned the radio down if I knew I could completely be unencumbered. So I expect the same in return too. So same thing. Y'all, if it were up to me, the dress code would be totally different, but it's not up to me, okay? Now, do I think what people wear every day is cute? You can wear whatever? Sure, as long as we covering parts of the body functionally, absolutely. Here's the big deal though, okay? Can I come in here in my booty shorts and my midriff top right now?
No.
Why? Why? Why can't I wear my booty shorts and midriff top right now? I'm looking for an answer, people.
What'd you call it? Or what top?
Midriff top. Why can't I though?
It's a midriff.
Is it professional? No.
Would it be professional for me to stand in here in front of you all in my cutoff shorts and my midriff top right now? No. Can I wear them?
Yeah.
Yeah, on my own personal time when I do my personal business, okay? So same thing, you all might find yourself in a job, in a situation, you can't just show up in the leggings and the oversized sweatshirts. You can't just show up like you rolled up out of the bed, okay? You can't show up looking like you're going to the beach or the lake, right? That's a respect thing, folks. It's not about the clothing. You're cute, you look great, whatever. It's about, there's a time and a place for it, okay? So think about it like me. I'd like to be wearing certain things right now too, but I can't, okay?
We as teachers and administrators just had a new dress code thing as well. We don't care for it, but we have to abide by it. We can't wear holy jeans anymore.
Wait,
I have like
Yeah, y'all can't wear
one
jeans.
pair
Wear
of
jeans
jeans.
whenever, or is it still specifically for
But you guys, but it's expected.
So we've now, and I'll go even a step further. So teachers can only wear them on Fridays with school spirit wear, like a school spirit shirt. Us as administrators, we can't wear them at all now unless it is a designated school spirit situation, like homecoming week with Spirit Week or whatever. Because it's a sign of respect. You have a certain job, you have certain job responsibilities, you should look the part, okay? So it would not be becoming of me to be in jeans every day, okay? I was yesterday, it was a work day, but I also simultaneously had the volleyball supervision last night. So it was a 16-hour day for me yesterday, okay? But I didn't have holes in my jeans. I had, appropriate school Franklin County gear on. But so like this coming Friday, where teachers are able to wear it, I would love to wear it. Why? Because I got a football game Friday night to help supervise. I'd really like not have to change clothes in between, but I'll have to change clothes because I cannot wear the jeans anymore on the Friday, okay? Yes, ma'am.
So if a teacher reprimands you for being on your cell phone, but they're on their cell phone all the time, is that appropriate?
It's kind of the pot calling kettle black, isn't it? Yeah, and that's what we're trying to remind everybody on campus, not just students, but staff as well, because I agree with y'all. There are a lot of, my colleagues have a real problem too, okay? Real problem. It's a sign of respect, all right? So there again, I tried to model that for y'all when I came in. Mine's been over here, but what did I say from the onset? I'm sorry, y'all. I don't want to get on mine. I don't want to have the radio turned up, but I have to what? I have to today because of what we got going on. So I told you why it was turned up. I hate it, but there's where it is. So maybe your teacher's got something going on today or whatever, kid sick or something. Hey, y'all, Emily's sick today. I'm gonna have it out on the desk. I might have to look at it a couple times. That's what's happening, okay? But that person should be giving you the same respect that we're asking you all to give them, okay? Then that's how it works. Again, it's not about the cell phones. It's not about the dress code. Although, some of your peers have a real problem with the phones. And I think you all know, you just don't want to admit it, okay? That there are people with an addiction to looking at the phone, okay? It's about the respect. There's a time and a place to look at the phone. There's a time and a place to wear certain clothing, okay?
And I think too, we have to consider a lot of you guys are going into jobs. That cell phone translates as a safety issue. You're not going to be welding something all of a sudden stop and Snapchat somebody. Or you're not going to be up on a roof.
Or you shouldn't. You
You're not
shouldn't.
going to be up on a roof handing somebody a 2x4 and stop and then accidentally drop it or cut it and cut somebody, right? So you got to think a lot of these rules and regulations are to help you translate that into the civilian or your adulthood, It's not just
This is a distraction, okay? It was created to be a helpful tool, and it has been, but now it's become a distraction, okay? If I told you, do I really use this what it was created for, which is a phone? Hardly any. What do I use it for? Everything else under the sun. Email, Facebook, okay? I challenge you all, because you all grew up with them. I did not. We did not. They weren't a thing until college, okay? So try to pay attention to yourself on a daily basis. How many times are you looking at it, picking it up, and what are you looking at it for, okay? Because I love this one too. I was just checking the time. Get you a watch, okay? Or we got clocks around here, all right? What are you really looking at it for? Because you know what it does? You start, I'm looking at it for the time, and then you do what? Woo, look at all those things. And then 15 minutes later, you just dumped 15 minutes, okay? I'm guilty of it too, folks, okay? I'm guilty too. But fortunately, that's how I see it. I was reared in a different time where I don't have a dependency on it, okay? Unfortunately, there are some of you that have a dependency on it right now, and you've got to break that, because you're walking into a world that doesn't, okay, or at least not yet. A world of people that, for the most part, are senior level positions of companies and staff that didn't grow up with them either, okay? And they don't understand why you gotta have it or why you gotta look at it, because they want it off, out of sight, out of mind, okay? Time and a place, again, okay?
I've seen multiple students get fired from jobs because of it, so it's unfortunate, but that's the way it works.
I'm surprised nobody's asked about like everything, like daily stuff here.
Hey, what's some daily stuff you go through?
Worst issue you had to deal with, that's one of them.
Oh, that's good.
The worst that I can tell you about.
Or a scary situation, maybe.
Well. As an administrator, solely as an administrator.
That's fine. Or whatever.
Is it worse than fights?
Oh, what
No.
about down there in the courtyard?
Oh yeah. Well, that wasn't the worst, no. But it was as a perfect storm, which is a lot of sometimes of what happens. You know, last Thursday was a little bit of a perfect storm. Yeah, I can touch on that just a tad bit, but some of the fights I've encountered. One in particular was a perfect storm because didn't have anybody here as backup, all right? The closest administrators on the bus lot that afternoon were absent for various reasons, and the closest one was all the way around the law building. So, you know, while I've got somebody in my grips, keeping them at bay from the other person, while I'm also got this stuff in my hands, you know, I've got them by the shoulders. You can only keep like radioing so many times for somebody to help you before you lose grip and traction, and you become casualty sometimes, okay? So as perfect storm, I didn't have backup, all right? Again, if I look like this, running, trying to stop. Sometimes people are also a little bit bigger than I am, okay? You're not always ready. Like, I run, I work out, but dang, I don't have my tennis shoes on, you know? Like, give me a break, I'm in a skirt. So 9 times out of 10, somebody's gonna get in a fight the day I put hose on and high heels, okay? Of course. So, yeah, it's a perfect storm sometimes of things. And it just goes from thing to thing to thing. So like today's kind of a perfect storm. I've got meetings with you all. I've got an enrollment meeting. I've got to go do a learning walk. I've got lunch duty. I've got another meeting with someone. It's just like wham, wham, wham. Okay, and that's not counting the unexpected, all right? So Thursday morning, I'll tell you this, I was in a classroom doing an observation. So I had my radio turned down, had my phone with me, but you know, it hadn't been buzzing. So here comes this announcement on. And I'm like, what is this? So I'm listening and I'm typing, you know, my observations, my teachers. And then I hear it and I'm like, well, I mean, I had my radio turned down, but there's nothing on my phone. I'm like, what is this? So then everybody starts looking at me. And I'm doing this number, like shutting the computer, trying to get everything, and they're just as cool as they can be. And they're like, okay, well, if you need us, let us know. And I'm like, yep, gotta go. So I didn't even know what was happening at that moment in time. So that just shows you, you know, we're trying to do what we were supposed to do, observations, instructional support, and you immediately have something that might take you away from it, okay? But the worst thing, I mean, collectively, COVID minus COVID, the part about COVID, what was the worst was the reality sinking in. Meaning, when we got the word that school was going to be shut down, it was just for a couple of days. And then we were at home just like you all were when the governor said no school. And so when they let us back into the buildings, and then week after week, as we're here by ourselves, it was kind of like, this is weird. You know, we're here by ourselves in the summertime, but it's a different kind of pace than summertime. When we were here week and week on end without you all, that was very, very strange. Very strange. So, yeah.
What's the most like the best or like most rewarding like memory that you got about like doing what you do?
Oh gosh. I mean, I'd have to say collectively, as a whole, it's seen former students, you all be successful. I've been invited to weddings. Again, Miss Wheeler is a product. Yeah, I've been able to watch her grow into an educator. So I would have to say that seeing what happens next for them in their lives, being able to have a front row seat for it. So.
One of the questions is, how do you calm students down? I guess that could be random.
Oh yeah, there's lots of different ways. Sometimes it depends on who the student is. Yeah, the first thing we try to do is contain the situation, okay? You know, if the student is heightened, then we're gonna try to get them to a different spot, calm them down. If they're not heightened, you know, just have conversation. You know, the key is to remain calm, and sometimes that doesn't happen for us. Sometimes our buttons get pushed, and we have to take a step back too. But trying to remain calm, trying to get them out of the limelight, meaning let's say we're out here in the hallway or something, trying to get them back in an office so we can fully discuss everything so you don't know everybody's business. So it just depends how heightened the student is, what is going on, but remaining calm and patient. And sometimes that's difficult.
Other questions, Jen? I've been pretty quiet today. I know you guys aren't ready yet, but how about some of you guys? I have the list. Shay, you have a question? Just because you're looking at me, you made eye contact through myself. No, it's just good. Let's see, what about, you kind of touched on this, but how has the teaching 10 years changed your perspective on administrative position?
Oh, so I would not want anyone to be an administrator in a school if they'd not been a teacher before. It's pure silliness. I can better help teachers because I've been there. I've not been there in a post-COVID world, but I've been there, okay? No matter what happens, time marches on, so things are always going to be changing. I can't imagine what it was like to be a teacher as I was coming through high school too, and people were just getting these things. Very few people had them, and they were a phone, little Nokia phones. So you had to leave them in the car. Well, if they walked through the parking lot and they saw it in the car, you got busted. Yeah, oh yeah. Many differences now. So it gives you the perspective you need. If you've not been in the classroom as a teacher yourself, you have no idea. Thankfully, I've been here, so it's been an easy transition classroom to administration. It was hard going over to the middle school. Even though I've worked with older kids, I'd not worked with that age group. So middle school's got a lot of drama, okay? Drama when I say there's no clear end, meaning it's not always black and white. It's a whole lot of black and white here, okay? You did it, you done it, here's what's gonna happen, okay? Or this is happening, therefore that's gonna happen. Yeah, in the middle school, it's a whole lot more gray area, like they're just still comprehending how to interact, how to deal with certain things. Physically, you're all over the place at that age, okay? We've all been there and done that too. So some people handle it better than others. So middle school was tough, but you're better equipped to handle interacting with folks if you've been in the classroom before. And if you've been in a classroom a while, there's some people who haven't been in the classroom as long that are administrators. Some people were in there longer. The more you go, the more you experience. So it seems like it gets easier, and it does. But then there's always things that you're gonna hit a wall sometimes, okay? Yes, sir.
Who's your favorite coworker?
Who's my favorite coworker? Oh gosh, I don't know. I've got 270 of them just here. I have no idea. I'm fortunate to work with really great people. I enjoy working for Mr. Crutchfield. He has been one of those people you meet along the way. I've been very fortunate enough to have met him. Now, I will say, I'm very fortunate that I've been able to work with former students. I've got 1, 2, 3, is it 3 y'all? 4?
Yeah, well, Miss Brenda was one.
Yeah. It's either 3 or 4 former students that I taught personally here on staff with us. So that's pretty cool.
If they are interested in education, would you recommend them taking advantage of the CCAP and starting at Western, or should they go ahead and consider?
I think if you know that's what you want to do, I think you owe it to yourself to explore several colleges, meaning a lot of folks just immediately try to do the CCAP because it looks easy. Yeah, it is, and it does look easy. But in the end, did you really price everything else? I don't know if anyone knows anything about Roanoke College, but it's a small private liberal arts college. Private means it's a higher price tag, okay? However, I would have never gone to Roanoke College if it wasn't for the scholarships that I received from them. At the time, they were the most expensive school on the list. They offered the most financial aid. I got more from them than I did from Ferrum. Yeah, so this is one of those times when if you've not been car shopping in your lives yet, this is a car shopping moment. Are you going to buy the first car that you see on the lot? No, okay? So same thing, don't set all your eggs in one basket to the first college you think of. Go to Roanoke College, Ferrum College, Emory and Henry, Hollins, Virginia Tech, Radford. It's harder at the larger schools to go and have these conversations, but go and talk to them, okay? See what is available, all right? You may find out that in reality, it might be cheaper, more doable, and easier in the long run at some of these other spots than it is Virginia Western, okay? Virginia Western is for some people, yes. But again, if you've not owned yourself enough to, let me go check it out first, you don't know, okay? You could save more money and time in the long run if you do some hard work right now, do a little research, okay? I would have wasted more time doing Virginia Western the first 2 years than I did just going straight to Roanoke College. Okay, yes sir.
What do you do to unwind after?
Oh, some weeks it's harder to unwind than others, but I do like to work out. I do like to try to watch TV when I can. I've always been a big TV person. The TV gets encompassed by my kids a lot, but I like to watch TV. I've always liked to read for pleasure. That's harder too sometimes because the older I get, unless I really get into the book, it's like, I lose it. Hang out with friends. Summertime is better because you have more places to go than wintertime, but yeah. You gotta find those things to unwind no matter what you do in life.
Other questions? Good.
Anybody got more questions? Oh, she gotta go.
Who's it? I'm just checking because there's an enrollment that's coming, so they're here, but I got a couple more minutes. So.
Wow. Do you miss being a history teacher?
I do sometimes, yes.
My class was the best class. Just saying.
They allowed me a lot of grace as the first semester go around. I do because I miss the content. I was passionate about history, so. I miss having the daily interactions and those connections, building those relationships with kids. Those people, some of the same people that, I've been to the weddings and things like that. I miss that.
Are you gonna miss Wheeler's wedding?
I don't know if I did or not.
I think I definitely invited you.
Yeah. I don't know if I did or not. Something may have been going on.
It's okay.
It should.
A lot of things happen in the
lot of things happen. Just making those connections every day with kids. I don't get to do that as much. I make connections, but it's with a whole lot of the same people. And that's okay too, but it's not the same. It's not the same as developing an ongoing relationship. So.
We had a really crazy class. Our class, at the end of the semester, we had to take an exam because it was 11th grade. Mm-hmm. Right? It was 11th grade.
11th grade.
And she told us that we could use our notes. And so this kid that was in my class, who's still one of my really good friends, well, a couple of them, I guess it was 2 of them.
Oh yeah.
They were like, wait, we can use our notes? She was like, yeah. So they got all their stuff out of their book bag, like because that's when we still use paper for everything. And they pulled all of it out and threw it all on the floor. And they were like, wait, we can sit on the floor and do it? And they put it everywhere in the floor.
Can I
And sat on the floor.
sit on the floor? I'm like, if you want to.
It was hilarious.
It was hilarious, and I can still see that, in my mind.
I couldn't remember.
I can still see a couple of the 9th grade groups that I had. Lord have mercy, some of them. If it started to snow, it's snowing.
It's snowing.
We hadn't seen snow before, y'all. I mean,
Not much, no.
so, just moments like that you don't get as an administrator. You get different kind of moments, and they turn into the you can't make this stuff up kind of moments. We have a lot of those. I have a lot of them.
Wow.
Anybody else?
When is the most easiest going time during school?
Every day is different. You mean if there is an average out of all 4 periods, which one is usually the quietest sometimes?
Yeah, out of the year, because we go.
Oh, you mean the months? Okay.
In the spring, is it more calm?
Oh, no. No. Spring is nuts. No, honestly, probably right now before the holidays, that and about February-ish, as we're ending fall sports, as we're ending winter sports. The other chunks are ridiculous. So yeah, spring is I'm not gonna say worst because it's some of the best activities that we get to do. It's why we're here, but spring is rough. We're talking 3 and 4 nights a week. There's some event or sporting event or something in April and May. It's hard. It's hard. So.
Have y'all heard the saying, only thing constant is change? No. No one? Yeah. Well, one thing about classroom teachers is we pretty much have the same schedule daily, right? We do experience different things in the classroom. However, as an administrator, her schedule is up in the air a lot. For example, she's dedicated this time to us, which I'm excited she's got to spend longer than we thought. But you have to plan to change, sort of. I know that sounds like an oxymoron. Always. But we knew that she might have to be pulled out because you never know what something silly happens in the hallway or bathroom or whatever. So that being said, when you get to a certain level of your job, you may not have a set schedule. She's got a radio for a reason.
Or the schedule you planned out for today goes totally out of the water. So.
She had an original schedule and now it's a little bit different. But you improvise. Y'all know what that means, right? Improv.
What?
You know what it's about.
Oh, yeah. You feel time.
No, you have to adjust.
Like, for example, guys, listen. For example, we knew that she may or may not be able to stay, so we planned other activities and things to make sure we covered, the time period to get you guys engaged and on your toes. But you guys.